Hi, everyone. It's Mike from Here the Watchman. And today on the Watchman's Report, we're going to talk about something that is really very crucial to your survival. We're going to talk about what happens when the grid goes down. Who are you going to call? You're not going to call Ghostbusters. What you're going to do is you're going to have to call someone in advance, and you're going to have to prepare. And so today, we are just so blessed to have Chance from American Survival Wholesale. That's AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com. He's going to come on with us today, and he's going to talk to you about what you need to do to prepare. Because you know what? The other day, here in an undisclosed location in the mountains of Idaho, we had a power outage. And we had our battery operated lanterns out and all that stuff. And it took like, I think 4 or 5 hours before they got the power restored. But you know what? When the grid goes down, it's not going to be 4 or 5 hours. It's going to be days or weeks. And so, Chance, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me, Mike. It's absolutely a pleasure. Well, I am really excited to pass some information on to you folks today. This scenario is probably one of the most likely scenarios in the United States, and it's not talked about a lot among our local city, state, and federal governments, but the threat is real. As a matter of fact, there was a country, Yemen, not too long ago. The ISIS members actually shut down that country because they shut down their grid. This is a real threat, folks. Now, we're going to give you some information today on what you can do to prepare. But first, I'd like to describe what an EMP is so that you have a better understanding. So an EMP stands for an electromagnetic pulse. This EMP can be created from either a solar flare and or a nuclear detonation, or what we refer to as an HEMP, which stands for high altitude EMP weapon. Now, this is the most likely scenario. An HEMP that is launched over, let's say, the Midwest, Kansas City area, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, would take out, in most cases, the entire grid over the United States. It works in a line of sight, and it produces a magnetic pulse that will knock out all of the substations across the United States. And unfortunately, the scientists have gone over the research, and they understand that the grid is not going to come up anytime soon. And there's not much that we can do about it. We can't stop this threat. So what we can do is be prepared. Now let's talk about what type of threat this actually is. The statistics show that 9 out of 10 people would be dead in the first year. Why is that? Number one, you've got a lot of folks that are either in the hospital or they're on some type of medical device that requires electricity. And so without that power, they're the first to go. So you're elderly probably within the first week to 2 weeks. Then we have those that require prescriptions. For example, diabetics. Diabetics are required to keep their insulin refrigerated, as well as a lot of other medications. And without refrigeration, that medication will go bad and they will die. So as you can see, this is a real threat. After that, then you're going to start to see the looters. Sorry about that. You're going to start to see the looters. You're going to start to see problems with sanitation, which will cause a major pandemic. If you've ever been to a third world country and you see the problems with sanitation, people get sick very quickly, and it's a mass die-off. So then we have looters and trespassing. So again, 9 out of 10 people will be gone within a year. But again, there are things that you can do to prepare. Number one, please make sure that you have enough water and food on hand for every member of your family. Now, they're talking about, Mike, actually a grid being down for 6 months to 2 years because our grid has received a rating. Think of it like a class grade of D plus. Okay, that's pretty bad. There are other countries, including Russia and others, that have a much better hardened grid system. Here in Texas, our governor is working right now on getting the financing and into the budget to harden our grid. We have our own grid here. It's tied, but it's probably better off than most. And so, having a D plus rating it's not good. And so, the problem is they're not going to be able to get this back up in time before a lot of people are going to lose their lives, Mike.
Well, Chance, I don't mean to interrupt you here, but I mean, is this a real threat? I mean, do you think that sometime in the near future we could all be hit with this?
It's probably the number 2 threat in the United States coming from terrorists, and I'll tell you why. An EMP is not expensive to build, and it's not difficult to build. You do not have to be a brain surgeon. You could do this in your own backyard. As a matter of fact, it can be launched from your own backyard. Think about when you guys were young and you saw these model rockets that went way up into the atmosphere. Okay, that's all that it takes, right? So an EMP that's launched at, let's say, 20 miles above the Earth's surface can absolutely knock out the entire West Coast, East Coast, and Texas grid system. And it's over. So again, having enough food and water and the proper supplies in order to protect yourself is key. Now, one thing that I'm going to teach you today is how to build a proper Faraday cage. Now, let's say an EMP does happen. Your cell phones aren't going to work, right? Most of your appliances are not going to work. Even your light bulbs, the new LED light bulbs, because they have microcircuitry in them, they're not going to work. But what you can do is you can put your an extra cell phone that has all of your contact information, addresses, telephone numbers. Those things are important, and you'll lose them during an EMP. You can put a backup computer or a thumb drive in a Faraday cage. That's got all of your important documentation on it. And so once the EMP is over, we suggest you wait about 3 to 4 days. You can retrieve those electronic devices from your Faraday cage, and you'll have access to all of your important information. Things like this as well. This is actually an item that we carry. This is a standard 400 watt power inverter. Make no mistake, this is very, very important when you have no power. You can run this from your car battery, plugs right into your cigarette lighter, plug in an extension cord right into your house, and voila, you have light, right? You have lighting. Without lighting, we're back in the Stone Ages, guys. We have these on our site, and at the end of the show, I'm going to tell you guys how you can get this for free from Americans Survival
Let me ask you this, Chance, let me ask you this. I mean, because a lot of people out there that are listening to this show today, they have no idea what an EMP is. And I know you're not a scientist, but what actually happens when, are we talking about a nuclear bomb? I mean, what are we talking about?
So, yeah, if you think about, there's 2 types of EMPs, again, from a solar flare, that's the electromagnetic pulse that's created from, I'm sorry, here, let me shut this thing off. That's the electromagnetic pulse that's created from a solar flare. And it's think of it like a type of form of radiation. So this spike of electricity comes through our atmosphere, right? And think of our Earth as a big magnet, right? So what that does is it intensifies that spike. And that spike, if depending on where it's at above the Earth, will affect whatever it is underneath. And that's what fries the microcircuitry. Now, Electromagnetic pulse can go right through our bodies. It's not a problem. It doesn't affect us at all. Unless you have a pacemaker, then you're in trouble. But normally it doesn't affect us at all. But any of your electronic devices, they're going to be shot. Now, there is a little controversy about vehicles. I can tell you this is a fact. If you have a vehicle that's 1976 or older, you're probably going to be able to come out after an EMP and start it right up. Why? Because it does not have electronic ignition. However, anything after 76, 77 and beyond, that's when they started introducing electronic ignition. And today's cars are just nothing more than big computers, right? Everything is run by computer. So your tractors are going to work. Your quad runners, your four-wheelers are probably going to work. Most of your basic and your dirt bikes, most of your basic vehicles are going to be fine. But our average transportation that we drive every day, probably not going to work. And so it's good to have alternate forms of transportation, whether that be a bike, a scooter, an older car, something like that. It would be very, very wise. And as well, having some extra fuel on hand. We suggest that you have about 500 gallons of extra fuel. If you can store it under the ground, that would be much better. And use a product called Stable. Stable will keep that fuel fresh for 2 years. So again, there's many things that you can do, and we teach this. As a matter of fact, we offer a free consultation. We've talked about it on your show before, Mike. We offer a free consultation. So if you're concerned, if you don't know where you're at and where you need to be, we'll help you get there. Just give us a call at 818-720-0759, 818-720-0759, or email us, which is even better, so we can schedule your consultation at bugoutamerica@usa.com. bugoutamerica@usa.com.
And Chance, this is important for all of our listeners to understand. Chance does this. He does this consultation at no cost. Isn't that right?
It's free of charge. Absolutely free of charge.
Yeah. So folks, you need to call him and you need to look at this. I mean, the problem is, and Chance, roll with me on this. The problem is that once the grid goes down, it's too late to call. So you have to prepare in advance. And so what do we do to really prepare into the Faraday cage? I mean, now explain that. I mean, here's something, not many people really know what a Faraday cage is. Explain what that is.
Okay. So a Faraday cage basically works on the principle of grounding. So imagine you've got a spike of electricity, high voltage. If you have your electronic devices in, let's say, a container that on the outside is made of metal, which is conductive, and on the inside is made of a surface, covered in a surface that is non-conductive, that is a Faraday cage. They come in all different sizes. Now, I'm actually going to teach you guys right now how to build your own Faraday cage for under $30. You go to your local hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, etc., and you pick up a galvanized steel garbage can. That's all we used to have in the old days, the galvanized steel garbage can with a metal lid. Bring that home. And then what I want you to do is to get the largest piece of cardboard you can find. Maybe at the same hardware store, you can find maybe an old refrigerator box, a freezer box, something like that. Set that garbage can right on the top of, let me just shut this darn thing off here. There we go.
See, look at folks. People are calling Chance right and left right now, trying to find advice on how to survive.
Right. So we take a large, take your large cardboard box, set that big garbage can on the box, then take a marker or a pen and trace around the bottom of the can, flip it over, and then trace another on the top of the can. What you're going to do is you're going to trim that about 1/8 of an inch smaller than your line. Okay. You're going to take that smaller piece, that smaller circle, you're going to put it in the bottom of your can on the inside. And the top, you're going to place inside the lid. Then you're going to take the cardboard and you're going to measure inside of the garbage can what we call the circumference. And you're going to place that cardboard inside the garbage can. And remember that it goes up like this. So it's narrower at the bottom than it is at the top. So you're going to line the inside of that garbage can and then cut slits at the top so that it allows it to expand. The whole idea here is for you to be able to set your computers, your laptops, your cell phones, your backup drives, things like that in this garbage can so that if an EMP hits, that it's not going to affect your devices. Now, this is really key. The next step, well, this is something that we do, we suggest you do that not everyone does. Take a regular piece of copper wire with an alligator clip at each end and clip that alligator clip to the handle of the garbage can and attach the other side, about 6 feet would do fine, to a copper rod that's in the ground. That's truly going to give you a stout Faraday cage. Now, another step that we go beyond what they normally do is that garbage can lid, it might have a few air gaps in it. So you can also find at the hardware store for about $3 aluminum tape. And this tape you're going to place around, once that lid is on, you're going to place it around the can and the lid at the same time so that it makes contact, a perfect seal all the way around. You guys, and I hope that's clear, Mike.
Well, it's very clear, Chance. And I mean, here's the thing, folks. And Chance, I got to ask you this. Besides your computers and your cell phones, what else would you put in that Faraday cage?
One of the major things that you should have on hand would be like an AM, FM radio, preferably one that has weather bands, that has a shortwave receiver. As a matter of fact, we carry one here at American Survival Wholesale. It's probably the lowest price on the planet. It's a 7-band radio. So it's got your AM, your FM, like 3 weather bands, 2 or 3 shortwave bands. It runs on solar. It runs, you can wind it up and crank it. It'll even power your cell phone. And it's for like, I think, $50 or so, very inexpensive. So you want to put things like your radio in there so that you can receive news after an EMP, find out if there's still a threat. And understanding now, remember I told you, you're not going to take these items out right away. What the terrorists might do is they'll launch an EMP, wait a couple of days until they feel like, okay, everyone's relaxed and now they're getting back on board. They're getting their lives back in order. Then they'll launch another one. So wait a couple of days before you remove your contents from the Faraday cage. So other items besides your cell phones, your inverters like this one, your radios, your computers, go ahead and put items like extra batteries, your lithium batteries. Go ahead and put any items in there that you're going to need that have any electronic function whatsoever. That's a large space in there. And then what you can do on top of that, we call it layering, just for an extra form of protection. Take your cell phone. I'm going to hold up one here. So take your cell phone and wrap it in aluminum foil. And the key is to make sure that you wrap it completely so that there's no air gaps. That's going to give you a double layer of protection inside that Faraday cage.
Well, now, Chance, I mean, this is very interesting what you're talking to us about today. And these are crucial, folks, crucial survival tools. But, Chance, I mean, we've got this guy with the bad haircut over in Korea. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he needs to go to a barber. But do you think he has the potential to launch an EMP upon us?
That's definitely a possibility. I don't see that the threat is coming from his direction. So the little fat man is a bit insane. We call him a little Hitler, but I don't think that's where your EMP threat comes from. It comes from the terrorism, the ISIS terrorism. That they're already in the country. We're aware of that. They've come across the border. They're just waiting to get that text message that says, go ahead and launch. That's where your threat is going to come from, Mike.
Oh, so it's from inside the country.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, well,
They're already.
that's frightening. I mean, that right there is frightening, folks. And that is all the more reason why you need to prepare and you need to get ready for all of this. I mean, Chance, I mean, we look at our daily lives today. You and I are talking here on the internet. We use the internet. We have power for us up here. We have propane that runs our household for cooking and heating and that sort of stuff. And we have a wood stove. But I mean, think about what would happen. Let's just say Los Angeles, where you and I both used to live, but let's just say Los Angeles. All the power goes out. I mean, the grid goes down. It will be mass chaos, don't you think?
Absolutely. So you take the best person that you know. Let's take a father or a husband, the absolute best person that you know. If he has children, I can guarantee you that that good man is going to cross the line and he is going to do what it takes. And please pay attention here. He's going to do what it takes to feed his children. And if that means he's going to try to take from you, then that's exactly what that means. Now, granted, most folks only have about 3 days worth of food in their home. The grocery stores are not going to be able to allow you to make purchases. So if you don't have long-term storable food, if you don't have enough water, if you don't have enough candles or a way to heat your food, this is why we offer the free consultation, because we take you through step by step by step. Where are you at and where do you need to be? So that you're definitely right, Mike. That's a major, major threat. And don't think that it won't happen to you, because when these guys start getting into gangs and they start going up and down the streets and they start going out into the country, they're going to be at your back door, and you have to be prepared to prepare yourself and to keep the products that maybe you've purchased from Americans Forever Wholesale safe. So absolutely, Mike.
Well, Chance, I mean, I will tell you, when we used to live in the Communist Republic of California back in the day, there was a power outage. They claim that some guy in Arizona pulled the wrong plug out of the circuit or whatever. But there was like a 3-day power outage. Now, I'm not kidding you, folks. It was chaos, mass chaos. I mean, I went down to the grocery store. This is how bad it is, and this is what you need to be prepared for. I went to the grocery store to try and buy us some food, and they couldn't do the transaction. Why? Because they couldn't figure out how to take the cash. Now, that's where we are today. We are so automated, and we are so stuck to technology that when it goes down, no one can do anything. You couldn't buy gas. You couldn't go to an ATM. You had to drive like 50 miles away. Every generator in the city was sold, so you couldn't get a generator. So, Chance, tell us a little bit more about, from a standpoint of food and the other things that we need to do to prepare. How long do we need to prepare to be able to get through this?
Absolutely, I'll do that. Before I do, I want to comment on a statement that you made. Prior to, let's say, 1910, so let's just go back a little ways to between 1800 and 1900. It was a much simpler time. We didn't have the internet, right? We didn't have computers. We didn't have these cash registers that you had to scan your card, or or run your 666 through. You know, we didn't have any of that. So they were able to exist just fine back then. You can do that today if you're prepared, right? All you have to do is to take the proper steps. So the amount of water and the amount of food. You need to have at least 200 gallons of water on hand per person in your household. So if there's 4 people in your household, you need to have about 800 gallons of water. I can actually teach you how to do that very inexpensively. There are a few tips and tricks. As far as food, in this particular scenario, 6 months is your minimum. I would suggest, highly suggest, that you have a year's worth of food for each person in your household. So again, for a family of 4, you need to have 4 years worth of food, freeze-dried food in your house. Matter of fact, we've got a huge sale going on right now. I think Mike's going to probably talk about later, but that's very important, as well as enough fuel. So, you know, if you have the ability, let's say that you're in a condo, you're in an apartment, or you live in a big city. Well, you don't have a wood stove. You can't start a fire inside your apartment. But what you can do is you can have a little propane stove, or maybe a propane barbecue out on your back deck that's got that side burner. That side burner can heat, you know, 4 or 5 gallons of water in about 7 or 8 minutes. So have some extra propane on hand. I suggest that you have about, for this scenario, about probably 10 tanks of fuel. And if you don't need them, I mean, if there's never a scenario, well, at least you have the fuel for the future. If you don't need the food, if there's no major disaster, well, I think you're ahead of the game, because food prices don't go down. So just, folks, I can tell you, it's just better to be prepared for this scenario. We're not trying to scare you. This is not a fear factor. This is a fact. This is a real threat. The government takes it seriously. We take it seriously, and you should take it seriously.
Well, Chance, when you talk about that water supply that we all need to have on hand, is that just to drink, or is that to bathe and to cook and all of that?
So yeah, so you need potable water for drinking, but you also need water for cooking and for cleaning purposes, right? So if we look at our water bill, you'll get an idea of how much water you use on a monthly basis. It's actually quite a bit. So in that scenario, you're probably going to be using a lot less water, but the potable water, that's the #1 priority, is to have clean, fresh drinking water. We can teach you how to do that. If you're getting water from a river, from a lake, or some type of a water source, a creek, we can teach you how to sanitize your water and make it potable. Again, that's part of your free consultation.
Now, Chance, at AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com, do you guys have the stuff that we need to treat water and to prepare and to get us through what's coming?
Absolutely, we do. We have water purification tablets, water purification bottles, water filtration straws. We have water storage, anywhere from portable 5-gallon BPA-free units all the way up to big 70, 80-gallon water bladders that you can keep in your tub. So yeah, we carry a full line. You know, we actually carry, Mike, I don't know if you knew this, 8,000 different products. And so absolutely, we have these on hand. You're probably not going to find them any less anywhere, because we are a wholesale company.
Well, the thing is, let's talk about that water filtration straw. Let's just pick one item that you have. That water filtration straw. Am I correct in saying that like I could drink out of a puddle in the ground, and that water filtration straw would purify that enough so that it wouldn't make me sick?
Absolutely. Each straw has the potential of filtering out over 200 gallons of water. And you'll use this straw in place of a water filtration bottle when you don't have a creek, a river, a pond, a lake, something like that handy. You can drink from a leaf. You can drink from a puddle on the ground. You can drink from any source. Over 200 gallons of water. And this, by the time the straw has filtered out the water. There's not much left but water. Even the minerals are taken out. So it's just an amazing product. And guys, I think it's under 15 bucks. So you can in your glove
Yeah,
box.
that's crazy. I mean, that is crazy. $15, folks. $15 to save your life. Now, Chance, I know you've been in the military. You've been trained in survival. So let's talk for a second to people about the fact that if you're going to survive, you can go like a month with no food. But I think you can only go like 3 days without water. Is that right, Chance?
Yeah, so yeah, the maximum before you get completely dehydrated is about 72 hours without water. You can survive a month without food, but I wouldn't suggest it. You'll have no energy to move. You probably want to eat within the first 4 to 5 days. If you don't have food within the first 4 or 5 days, you're probably not going to be mobile because you're not going to have the calories to even stand up. So yeah, absolutely right. So 3 days without food, 4 to 5 days 3 days without water, 4 to 5 days without food.
Well, now, Chance, do you guys have at AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com, do you guys have like a high energy caloric bar or something that we can stick in our backpack to just our bug out bag, so to speak, just to make sure that we have something to survive?
We do. We carry food bars that give you all of the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that you need for one meal. As a matter of fact, we carry one size that I really like is the 2,400 calorie food bar. Now that sounds like a lot of calories. It's apple cinnamon flavored, but it's not a lot of calories because when you're on the move and you're under stress, you're going to need the extra calories. Your body is going to burn those calories up. What's great about this bar, it's only about 6 inches by 4 inches and about 2 inches thick, but it's segmented into 6 sections. So you can have 400 calories, break off a block of 400 calories, eat that for one meal. 3 hours later, have another. 3 hours later, have another. So you can have 6 meals in one day and not only survive, but thrive because it's giving you all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals that your body needs.
Well, now, Chance, listen, we've talked today about some crucial stuff. We have talked about how to get a Faraday cage, how to build a Faraday cage, how to prepare with water and food. But how about this, Chance? What about clothing? What about like something to keep us warm? I mean, because you got to realize when this hits, it might be the dead of winter. It might be 28 degrees below zero wherever you are. We don't know. So what can we do? Do you have any products that can help us to shelter ourselves?
Absolutely. So during the summer, of course, you want to wear lighter clothing and stay in shaded areas because you're not going to have the power for air conditioning. That's going to be gone. Okay. During the winter, I would suggest that you check out our inventory at American Survival Wholesale. I'll tell you why. Because the lowest temperature of the year in Texas is going to be much different than the lowest temperature in the mountains of Idaho. Okay, so we'll get down to about 30 degrees. You guys might get down to 30 below zero, right? And so we carry sleeping bags that are rated for those temperatures. And let me tell you, our 20 below bag, if you're in that bag and it's 0 degrees outside, you're going to sweat. They are amazing, amazing products and well manufactured by some of the best manufacturers in the United States.
Well, there you have it, folks. I mean, listen, the bottom line is when we're facing these difficult times, and we know we're there. We know we're facing, we got the little fat man over in Korea. We've got stuff going on in Syria. We've got stuff going on in Iran. I mean, it's scary times. And what you need to do is to not be afraid, is to, one, pray, right, Chance? We got to pray.
Spiritual preparation. Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is get ready for what's to come. So what I want you to do is I want you to just go, and this is not a sales pitch at all. Just go to AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com. Check out their products, see what they have. Contact Chance. Take a look at what he has to offer because, he's a good Christian man. And what he's doing out there right now is trying to help all of us to get ready for what's to come. Chance, in the last couple of minutes here, what would you say to people to put them at ease and to because you're right, we're not selling fear here. What we're selling, and we're not even selling it, folks. What we're talking about is how to get ready for what's to come. So, Chance, in the last couple of minutes, what would you say to people to really put them at ease?
Part of being a Christian, Mike, is understanding that as fathers and as husbands, we are responsible to take care of our families, as well as being scripturally based, the widows and the children. So it's our prerogative to make sure that we have supplies on hand in case a scenario like this happens, right? Not to be able just to help ourselves and our family, but others to do the Christian thing, the right thing. So it's very, very important that you take the measures now in order to be prepared for this situation. Now, we do have a layaway program. I understand, guys, a lot of folks are on a budget. We're on a budget. Layaway program. If you start right now, 25% down is all it takes. And just get a little bit and just get a little bit more every week, every payday. Just build your preps up, build your stock up. Before you know it, you're going to have enough food for your entire family and maybe enough food and water to help somebody else.
Well, that's a good point, Chance. I mean, you bring up a very valid point. A lot of people out there are on a fixed income. I mean, or if we're not on a fixed income, we have little income and we can't afford all of this stuff. So if you want to start to prep, how does American Survival, you have the layaway, but AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com can really help you. So tell me about some of your specials and tell me about the ways that people can kind of get going.
As a matter of fact, right now we are giving away free food. We have a program and a Memorial Day promotion that's probably the biggest we've ever had. If you spend $50 right now on any products, American Survival Wholesale, we're going to ship to you completely free of charge. If you spend $100, we're going to throw in 10 servings of free chili and free shipping. If you spend $199 or more, you're going to get the free shipping, you're going to get the chili, and we're going to send you the big pack of freeze-dried mixed vegetables. They are delicious. They're beans and peas and carrots are just absolutely wonderful. Crisp vegetables, freeze-dried, 20-year shelf life. But for Mike, for Hear the Watchman, and Hear the Watchman only, we're going to do one more thing. That power inverter that we mentioned earlier, if you spend $199, you're going to get everything that we talked about, and we're going to throw in this power inverter for the first 10 people that use the promo code HONOR, HONOR. We'll get you the free shipping, the free food, and this inverter, and all you have to spend is $199. You get your family prepared. It's kind of a win-win situation.
Chance, not to steal any thunder from Pastor Paul Begley, but are you serious? I mean, that is an incredible offer. I mean, that is something, folks, that you need to take a look at. You need to go to Chance's website. I mean, that's the bottom line. You need to go to AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com. Again, AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com. Now, this is Chance and I have been brothers for a long time. He and I used to live in California. He bailed out of California. He was fortunate, got out of California before Jeannie and I did, but we weren't far behind him. And you know, this man is not, I'm telling you folks, he's not about the money. Sure, he has a business and we all have to make a living, but what he does is he tries to prepare you and to help you. And that's the key word, help you. All you have to do is call him or go on his website and send him a contact. Chance, what's your phone number again?
Our phone number is 818-720-0759, 818-720-0759. And as I've said before, I promise you there will not be a computer that answers the phone. If someone's not here, just leave a message and we'll call you back in the next business day.
So folks, I mean, this guy is the real deal. I mean, he's not one of these chamois sort of guys out there. I mean, he's the real deal. He doesn't want to sell you anything that you don't need. He only wants to provide you with what you need. So take a moment today, go on his website, check it out. And that's all you have to do is check it out because it could save your life. That's the bottom line. It could really save your life. Chance, thank you so much for coming on this Sunday afternoon with us today and sharing your knowledge and what you can do for people. Thank you.
My pleasure. Just reach out to us and, you know, we'll help you through it. You know, we'll give you a free consultation. We'll get you through the hard stuff. And it's really not too much. We'll make it happen for you.
Well, God bless you, Chance. And folks, again, American Survival Wholesale.com. Go there, visit it, take a look at all of his stuff. I mean, he's got some great stuff. He has a ghillie suit that I want. I mean, that's for sure. But he has an amazing array of products, all very reasonably priced, and he stands behind them. You buy one of his products, it goes bad, he'll take care of it. He'll make it good on you. So folks, again, thank you for tuning in today to the Watchmen's Report. We're just so blessed. I mean, we have over 1 million views on our YouTube channel, and we continue to keep growing. And that's because we provide you with the information that you need in these trying times. And don't forget, go to HearTheWatchmen.com. Get yourself registered for the Boise conference. It's the tour bus to the Eclipse is completely sold out. We can't get another bus. We tried. We can't get another bus. But you can still get tickets to the event. You can caravan up there with us in your rental car, or if you're local, you can follow us up there. We're going to pray during the total eclipse. We're going to pray for America. And please, folks, go to HearTheWatchmen.com, check it out, see what's going on, and change your life. Chance, again, thank you. Everyone else out there, God bless you. Until the next time, be careful, be prepared, and pray. God bless.
God bless you guys. Bye now.